Morning. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream. So the main thing we're going to talk about today is the Chroma track, color and track color, item color script. This is new, released just a couple days ago, and it seems pretty good. I haven't used a special script for coloring stuff. Mainly, I rely on the SWS Autocolor. But there are occasions where I need to specifically color things just to differentiate different items and things like that. But yeah, so we're going to check that out, starting with installing it and all that. Probably going to start off with some Q&A. And besides that one script that I want to talk about today, we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Anything from a previous stream that we didn't cover in depth, if there's any updates to things. I'm finished the edit for the studio tour video. I'll show you the thumbnail because I just think it's funny. But that video is going to go out probably Monday. But there's the thumbnail that I'm going with for now. I should actually take a better photo of myself. This is just an old cutout thing. MTV Cribs style. I thought it'd be silly. It's not the studio tour video I wanted to make, but it was the video that I was able to make. Yeah, I want to do some Q&A or something just to warm up, get people in here. This stream is not for me to show off the things that I have. This stream is for you guys to ask questions and get answers from someone that uses Reaper a lot, that teaches people a lot. I have a lot of experience with using Reaper for many other things. Matthew Kirchhoff asks, when you double click on the line between the TCP and arrange view, it gives you the ability to toggle between two different TCP arrange sizes. Is there an action instead of double clicking? The only actions that you could set up for that are screen sets. I actually did show this in an old video. So we grab this divider, we pull this over to the left, and then you double click on that. It's supposed to toggle between those two states. It doesn't always. I found it a little hard to get that working sometimes. So sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. I found it a little intermittent. So what I would suggest to do is do screen sets. So it's a great feature. It's a great way to save some editing space, especially if you're working on a small laptop. But yeah, I just found that sometimes it would just get stuck in like both settings. The toggle would just kind of stay in the same position. Just set up a screen set with it minimized and with it normal, and then you can toggle between those two. That's probably the best way. Any advice on how to use an action to maximize height of a track? Yeah, I think there is. I think there is a couple actions for that. So let's open up the action list and go to max height, I think would be. View toggle track zoom to maximum height. And that does set every track to it. And for some reason it doesn't. It's supposed to be a toggle. It doesn't seem to be a toggle. But yeah, so I'll shrink those down again and then hit this action. Oh, ruler set. I'm just pressing the wrong buttons now. Toggle track zoom to maximum height. It's supposed to be a toggle. It doesn't seem to be toggle for some reason. I think if you just search for vertical zoom and track height are basically the same thing. And there's sometimes different actions for those. I think there's another one. Vertical zoom to selected tracks. Yeah, that one will fill the screen. And then I would use the zoom undo function. So zoom undo, I have on Shift Z, SWS undo zoom. Hopefully you can see the action list there. Vertical zoom to selected tracks, that's probably your best bet. And then undo that with the undo zoom. That's probably going to be the best workflow for that, I think. And he still doesn't use screen sets. That is sad. I've explained it like, I think last week or the week before, so I'm not going to do it again. I've 3 or 4 videos about that. Hi, John. You came to Reaper from Pro Tools, I think. What advice would you give to someone else making the switch perhaps after version 7 is finally released? Start today and don't try to make Reaper the same as Pro Tools. You can take some of the same ideas where they make sense, where they're ergonomic, things like that, but don't try to make every keyboard shortcut the same, because sometimes Reaper has better shortcuts. Sometimes Pro Tools has better shortcuts. Ultimately, you have the flexibility now to do that. So like one stupid thing in Pro Tools I always thought was having to press Command and then equals to open up the mixer, rather than pressing M or pressing Alt M or having the dock or some other button that toggles the mixer, because you use the mixer a lot. It shouldn't be a two-handed operation. So set that up on something that's convenient. I do that with screen sets, so my number 2 key on my keyboard will show the mixer in a nice big size. Number 3 will do like 50-50. Pro Tools has good editing shortcuts like A and S and D and F and G. So I use some of the same ones, but for S, Reaper has a better one, Split, because the default in Pro Tools was like Command B. And so that's a bit of a stretch, and you're going to split so often. So yeah, keep Split on S, but add trim start of items to A, add cropping to D, or trimming items to selection. And I like F and G for fading items. I think that's super fast to do that. Another good thing about Pro Tools was the Z, X, C, and V keys. If you don't know, that's undo, cut, copy, paste, and no modifier required. And then you can add in Shift or Control or things to target more specific actions, or just like expand your options for that. So Z is undo, but Shift Z is undo zoom. X is cut items, but Command X for me is cut selected area of items. I think I might actually have that on a smart action. Yeah, I'll show you that. Cut items, envelope points, depending on focus, ignoring time selection. Or Control X, cut selected area of items and unselect all items. So that's a custom action. Basically, you have the ability to make everything custom now. So take your time, figure out what's a better workflow. It may not be Pro Tools workflow. It may not be Reaper's built-in workflow. I would also recommend checking out my Fresh Start series, which was for Reaper 6, but all of that's going to apply to Reaper 7, minus a few defaults I think they're going to change. Trim contents behind media items when editing. That should be on. Item behavior, like never mix items. Yeah, there's lots of little things, but a lot of people like that Fresh Start series. I don't think Reaper 7 is coming out tomorrow or anything like that. I think they better not release it this week. I think it's not ready to be released yet. When working with video, is it better to extract the audio to work with the audio? Absolutely, yeah. So in my video tools course, I think you might have that one. But if anyone doesn't have the video tools course, you can use the code SUMMER to get that for only $15 for the rest of the month. You have anytime access. I mean, the sale's running till the end of the month. I've got a bunch of presets, and I have a few ways of extracting audio from video files. One easy built-in one in Reaper is just to duplicate the item and then run the glue action, and that will make a WAV file. And then on your video item, you make sure that it's set to ignore audio or audio items off or something like that. They recently changed the name of it, but I highly recommend doing that. Just group the two items together. You have the option of sliding the audio around if needed, but in general, just grouping the items and working that way is going to be better for performance and for organization in your project. One reason for that is Reaper has to load that video file twice and decode the video files and the audio file in different ways, and you don't get an accurate waveform. So when you create a WAV file version, it's super cheap, let's say CPU-wise, for it to decode because it's PCM. It's uncompressed, and the waveforms are accurate. So if you go to a transient, you know that's exactly where it is. Where with the video file, it's around that spot, but it's not exact. It's not frame accurate. I don't know if they're going to do another Reaper 6 update. 7 is in betas, pre-releases. So yeah, they might not do like a 6.82. 6.81 might be the last update. And then we're just waiting on 7 to be finished. So the theme needs more work. The theme scripts need more work. They're still working on some of the other key features, just getting rid of any of the bugs as possible. But I don't want them to rush on this. Reaper's 6.81 is in a good spot, and there's no like major bugs really. I'd also like them to take their time so that SWS can be updated to work 100% with 7. They've found a few bugs, and they're doing it on a volunteer basis, so they're not able to fix things super quickly. Are tempo markers able to move with regions? Yep, they should. If the tempo markers are within a region, they should move correctly. Make sure your regions start on the bar line, that sort of thing. One little quick off-topic thing, I guess. A few weeks ago, we were talking about pedal boards, and I saw this Hyrie pedal board power supply for like $50 or something like that, and it has AC jacks on the top. Well, I picked one up, obviously. It seems pretty good. This is going to replace my synth station power supply. So it's going to power my drum machine, my the pedals that I have there, and the Moog Mavis. So that's going to be over my synth station. And then this pedal board is going to have the Donner power supply, which I mounted to this board yesterday. Kind of a whole ordeal to get that working, to get that mounted there. But yeah, I had to make some custom brackets and screw it in and find a spot where the screws could go in without hitting a capacitor. But I'm excited to work on that some more. That'll be like a bass guitar pedal board, and I'll have my regular guitar one. I think I need a lot more Velcro to get that working properly. Is it an isolated power supply? It says it is. I don't know for sure. I didn't open it up, and I wouldn't know what I'm looking for there. It seems okay, at the very least. It's not daisy chaining. Version 7 will be worth the wait. Well, hopefully. I think there's certain features that are excellent, and I think overall it may be a disappointment if you're expecting large changes. There's a new theme, but it still looks like Reaper. Spoilers, there's still no vector images, no dark mode on Windows. So there's certain things that everyone has wanted for a really long time. It's not going to happen with Reaper 7. It'll be a little bit of a disappointment. Kind of the same with Reaper 6. I was actually going to make a blog post or a video about how Reaper 6 will be a disappointment, but it felt a bit mean. If a DAW does exactly what you want, why update? Well, to support the development, there's only 2 to 5 people working on Reaper, if you count Kenny. So, yeah, just to see that it keeps going. That's the main reason to update, I would say. I have no qualms about dropping 60 when 7 comes out. Absolutely, yeah. I would be happy to pay 60 a year for Reaper. But it's like 60 every couple of years. Chris says he's been a Reaper user since 2019. This major update will still be within the update or within the license, possibly. I don't remember when Reaper 6 came out in 2020, was it? Maybe it is within your license. It's every other update. How many buttons on your mouse and what actions assigned to them? I think I did cover this in a different stream, but yeah, I'll take you through it quickly, or try to. Okay, so this is a Corsair Scimitar Pro RGB. So there are 12 side buttons, 2 top buttons, left and right click, mouse wheel. All right, so if I go to my Reaper layout, Button number 1 is comma. Button number 2 is, no. That's not right. Oh, I hate this thing. I probably just messed up my layout just by clicking around. I fucking hate this. Okay, well, let's do it from the action list, and I'll just hit my keys. So the number 1 button goes to -2 dB selected envelope section. The one above that is assigned to nothing. Above that is assigned to nothing. Yeah, I think I messed up the keyboard shortcuts. Oh well. I've got 2 actions for assigning the envelope volume changes. So go to an item, or what am I doing? If I go to a volume envelope, I hover over and I press this button. It makes a 4-point change there. And for some reason, my other action is not working. Period. There we go. So okay. Finally working. The middle mouse button is, as soon as I opened this, I started clicking around and I messed up my assignments. I hate this software. It's the worst software. IQ is absolutely terrible. It works in the opposite way that you expect. You want to just click on a button and then assign something, but instead you have to like hide this. This thing always covers up your assignments. You have to build your assignments and then select one and then click here. Very annoying. I've got one action that I use a lot, which will make take your time selection and shrink your items within the time selection and ripple edit everything else. So I will do that in silent areas of my videos. You might notice it. Sometimes you'll notice it in the stream edits because the music will speed up for a second. I try to do it in a way that's seamless. Anyways, just a quick way to... The exact same thing happened last week. My phone gave me alert on my computer, and then I forgot what I was talking about. When I use my phone for the intro camera, it kills it within half an hour. As I was saying, I use that a lot. I don't remember the other actions here. Keystroke 8 is command left, command right. Mouse 1 is default, I think. Control Shift G. Control Shift G. No. This, just a toolbar for gluing. Not glue tools, it's something else. Control Alt Command 4 is on my 6 key. Control Alt Command. Oh yeah, that's the this thing. Shrink item by half and ripple gap. I've definitely shown that in another video. Keystroke 1 is comma. Yeah, so I'm not using all 12 of those buttons, but I do really like it for editing. It's made things faster in general. I hate the software though. It's a crazy looking mouse. Yeah, it is. I got it used. I wouldn't buy one new, likely now. I bought Reaper license 7/20/19. It's time to re-up. It's ridiculously inexpensive and so hugely appreciated by my poor ass. Gas purchases have stopped. DAW won't break my bank. Reaper 6, December 2019. Yeah, so if you bought in July of 2019, then you will need to pay for the update. The dark mode thing, I guess you mean Windows blinds fix it. That's what you mean by that. I wasn't able to completely solve it. Like, you could add in certain things, but then like plugins look really bad. With using external equipment, would using a higher sample rate be beneficial during playback as opposed to recording? Technically, you get better latency with higher sample rates because the length of time, the duration of a sample is shorter. I don't think it's going to sound better. You might get better sync, I guess. But at 48K, I haven't had any issues with comb filtering, things like that. So I don't know if it's worth the disk space, the disk bandwidth, all the extra CPU for plugins. There's one benefit and like 3 downsides. I don't use high sample rates unless I'm planning on playing back the recordings at half speed or even slower. All right, so now we're going to check out Chroma coloring tool. This is a new script from Ol Shalom. I've never noticed this user in the forum, but this is a good looking script. It creates a custom color palette that you can assign to your tracks, to items. There is a note here that items and takes are going to be like the same function. Technically, Reaper calls them different things, but for the purposes of this script at this point, it's the same thing. Okay, so you can get this in Repack. I have not got this yet, so I'm going to copy the link. So here's your how-to on how to install this. Copy link, open extensions menu, go to Repack, go to import a repository. I'm going to paste in that link, hit OK. All right, so now we come into the action list and we go to Chroma coloring tool. Just do a quick search for that. That should come up. And if this window doesn't come up showing you all this stuff, it might start off like this. There is a little resize handle here that you can use to resize that. All right, so from this window as it is right now, we can select an item and then select one of these colors to color that item with that color. We can also hold down the control key or the command key, and that will force that color to the entire track. Pretty sweet, even if you don't have those items selected automatically. This top row of blocks is your custom color palette. So we can start taking favorite colors like this, and like this, and like this. We can start building up a custom color palette. We can also grab one of these colors, hit Edit Custom Color, and we can fine tune this with every possible color adjustment, RGB, HSVA, all these sorts of things, which is pretty cool. And this window can be moved around as needed, and you can drag this new color into the palette and just click off anywhere to close that. There's also the palette menu, and this brings up this new window. And let's just highlight this. It seems to work best if we have this first item or this first color selected. And if we click on any of these custom color palette options, analogous, triadic, complementary, split complementary, double split complementary, this will rebuild our custom palette to one of these themes based on the first color. So if I hit triadic, there's a triadic color palette based on that first color. If I go to this pink and drag this to my first slot and hit triadic, there's a new color palette based on that. Split complementary, analogous, complementary. So that's all cool. The main palette also has HSL and HSV options. And we can kind of globally change the saturation or the vibrance. So we can also tweak kind of the main color palette there. We can reset the main, and we can reset our custom palette within this window. So the only bug that I ran into here was if there's no color in the first slot here, you'll get this pop up, and it seems that all you need to do, we spent 10 minutes on the stream trying to solve this, just get a color in that first slot, and then you can hit one of the palette generators, and it works. The only other thing you need to know here is that if track is the last thing you touch, it should go to tracks here in the top right. And then you can color what's on that track. And again, you can force that by holding down the control key on Windows or command on Mac. So if track is selected, I can hit blue. There we go. And that colors that track. And then any of the default colored items should also follow that. There's a few buttons at the bottom, color selected items to track. So if I have this color, let's say I've already got this green color. I mean, it did that. Set children to same color, set tracks to gradient. Let's try that. So let's select a few tracks, set track color, color tracks to gradient. And that's a gradient from that first color. Pretty cool. And set tracks to custom palette. And that's similar to what the Reaper 6 theme adjuster will do. That reminds me of this function here in themes. Theme color controls. Where is it? These different color palettes. So it's like that, but in a different script. So we're going to color tracks to custom palette. There we go. Or color tracks to the main palette, which is this bigger section, and gradient and children, the same color. Let's put these inside here. I've already got some SWS Autocolor stuff happening, so that, yeah, I think that's already working there. Yeah, like that. Getting some sort of nil error on my end trying to run the script. This uses ReaIMG, I think it's called. There's probably some requirements for it. I bet it's this. Yeah, okay, so you might not have that in Repack. So that's going to be like one of the default things. If you go to Browse Packages and ReaIMGY, this API needs to be installed. Will this override SWS Autocolor? Good question. So if I've got a track here, like track 3, if I type in bass, it does seem to override it, or maybe it actually just turns it off. No, it is still enabled. It does override it though. Yeah. So I'd have to go to like track color, reset the default. It does seem to override the SWS Autocolor. I could press force, and then that will work. That could be a concern, I guess. Let's close this so the script's not running. We'll just verify that that's not running. It's not showing here. So if I change this track to guitar, then autocolor works. So autocolor is just suspended while that script is running. I'm glad that we checked. Is it dockable? Good question. I don't think it is. Well, somehow I will edit that into a cohesive video. We're going to have to cut like 20 minutes of that out. Thank you for the helpful questions in there. Okay, actual project with tracks to the main palette. Come on. Let's do a palette menu. Let's take this green. Analogous. No. Sure. That looks pretty good. I like that it shows which ones are selected as well. Okay, so what are we doing for the rest of the day? Are there any scripts that have been released recently that I should also look at? I don't think there's been any updates to the Psyche scripts, JSFX, recently, like since the last video. Add option to fully decouple open hat from closed hat with the little marker button left of the overhead column. Okay, so Dum Drums did get update. Let's check that out. Okay, this little marker decouples the open hat from the closed hat. So here they're synced, and this button lets you choose the other the other options. Otherwise, they follow the closed hat. Did I mention that in the stream? I think you may have seen the stream, and I made that change. Somebody was asking about Choking. I don't think it chokes. Let's try. Wait, is that? I don't think it chokes the note. Anything new with ChatGPT with Reaper? I actually don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while. Yeah, we can go back to Q&A. I wouldn't expect that it would choke the open hi-hat on a simple free one like that. It's a very common thing to do. And hardware drum machines tend to do that automatically. So like the, what do you call it? My RD6 does that. There's an open, closed, and if you trigger open and closed at the same time, it plays a third sound. I'm sure it's an easy thing to add in. Just maybe somebody hasn't asked him yet. Every drum machine I ever had has done it too. Yeah, it's kind of expected to do that. Seen any videos of the Unreal Engine Matrix demo with smart AI and PCs? You can talk with your mic to them. It seems to have a GPT AI language model for the NPCs. Yes, I did see that 2 weeks ago, maybe. It was kind of interesting. I don't know. The guy I was watching was like pretending that he thought they were sentient or something like that. The AI language models, it's just an advanced autocomplete thing. Just predictive text sort of thing. It can make for funny situations, but it's not like they're actually thinking or anything. Probably not even remembering what he's saying. If a Mac and PC, do you use the same config file or are they separate? Basically, I don't use Reaper on my PC on a regular basis. So it's usually a few versions behind, doesn't update with repack and stuff like that unless I'm looking for something specifically. Are they completely separate files? Yeah, don't 100% remember what I did. I went from a MacBook Pro to PC. I think I imported my MacBook Pro config to the PC. Then I used the PC for a year. I got a Mac Mini, and I'm pretty sure I took the MacBook Pro config and brought that over to the Mac Mini. And the Mac Mini config went to the Mac Studio. I've got most of the same stuff. I've started uninstalling plugins on that PC because I just don't use it for mixing or anything. Okay, I'm loading up the last song that we worked on stream. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with it, but I'm going to play it and we'll go from there. So since the last time I worked on this project, or last time I did this project on stream, I added a bass to this. So it looks like I only did the main section. So I could probably add in bass to the other sections, and let's hide unused takes. Okay, so I've got this filter change, but you know what? That should go on the master track. Copy effects and cut effects, including automation. Open up the effects chain. Paste effects. There we go. Okay, so that filter should apply to the guitars as well. Okay, so it doesn't bounce back accurately. That just sounds weird. Is there an option for that? Like a speed? It's smooth. I don't want it to be smooth. Anyone understand what's happening here? Maybe leave it down and I automate the mix control. That's way better. I was like, why did I record this so many times? I've got different basses on this. But now I can't remember which are which. I think that's the Jaguar. And that's the jazz bass. And that's different pickups. It's all different tones. Doesn't matter. Take this and modify this pattern a little bit. Something like that might work. What do you think? Or I could go to the E string. Let's do that. I don't know, the compression is going crazy on this, on that crash cymbal. Okay, I'm gonna grab a... I have actually ordered a second guitar stand, shamefully. Must be a different tuning. have any idea what to play. I honestly have no idea what to play. So we'll just stop there. I'm not going to force you to listen to me trying to figure out a part that I don't even really feel like playing guitar right now anyways. There was an interesting video recently, a mention, because I thought it was pretty cool. Kind of went over my head. This video, designing a simple analog kick drum from scratch, from Moritz, Klein. I'll put the link in the description. We're not going to watch it right now. He explains how you would make a kick synthesizer circuit, how to control it, all the different problems with it, and there are various demonstrations towards the end or at each section as he builds up this circuit. So surprisingly complicated, and there's lots of interesting tricks that Roland did back in the day, looking at the original specification or schematics, things like this. A lot of it goes over my head, and I know that I'm not going to build it myself, but I found it somewhat interesting. I watched probably 20 minutes of it before I gave up, but it's a cool video, and I really like the graphics
quick burst
that he does. So check out that channel for a lot more audio circuit design stuff, synthesizers, compressors, VCOs, things like that. I will subscribe. Who else had a good video this week? Weaver Beats had a good video on the Behringer situation. Certainly one of his better videos. Oh yes, the Venus Theory situation. This week, Venus Theory put out a video. There was a mention of Waffle House, and he showed some B-roll of the fights that happened at Waffle House. Because of that, his video was age restricted, even though the video that he had clipped it from is fully monetized on a news channel. So a lot of people didn't see the video. I did see the video. I didn't know it was demonetized or anything like that because I'm a YouTube Premium subscriber. So I never see ads anyways. So because of that, he spent the entire night making a second video and putting that up to complain about the whole situation. There was also a short and I don't know, maybe a third video, and it was on Ben's live stream last night. I didn't watch that. So yeah, we got 3 entertaining Venus Theory videos this week instead of just the one. I don't know what else to say about that. He could have just taken the clip out and reposted it, just changed it and moved on. I think the second video Venus Theory did is almost better than the first one, or it's good in a different way. Also, I don't want to see him pissed off all the time. I don't know if it's still demonetized or anything. It was recommended for me, so I watched it, but he's changing a lot since the Bitwig debacle. He wants out of the traditional music YouTube thing. When I was doing the thumbnail for my next video, the studio tour thing, I was looking up MTV Cribs videos. There was the T-Pain one showing his studio, and it's 3 seconds of the video. The most interesting stuff for me is just a quick aside mention in the house tour, and that's primarily what I want to see. So I was thinking we should get a couple of those videos to talk about what we see in these home studios of the stars. But I know it's just going to be a 5-second clip, not in depth of. Yeah, I don't want to see Cameron just complain about things. I want to see him make videos that feel good to make. It doesn't need to be grumpy. It should just be a character he plays, right? On the internet sometimes. That sort of attitude online also attracts that sort of people. And I don't know. He also had an interview on Sonic Scoop 8 days ago. I haven't seen that yet. I did watch the Sonic Scoop live stream a couple days ago. Headphones? Well, it was hardly a live stream. It was a live recording of a podcast. He didn't take any questions from chat. It's a Sonic Scoop video with slightly lower video quality. Pretty impressive that he's able to get through that with almost no mistakes and everything. It seemed a lot like the podcast. And interesting talk about the headphones. Yeah, if there's no questions or anything, I think we're going to wrap this up. It's 11:16 here. Getting pretty hungry. I'm thinking about going to Burger King today. They've got a butter chicken poutine, which seems so wrong, but so right at the same time. I'm thinking of getting it with onion rings. So if it's like a spicy curry sauce or somewhat spicy, spiced curry sauce with onion rings, yeah, YOLO. This whole week, my diet has been bad. I sent my watch back. They finally agreed to repair it. I haven't heard back from them after I sent it. So I don't know how long that's going to take. But since I'm not tracking my calorie expenditure, my burning of calories, I'm not also tracking the input because it disrupts meals too much. So it's been a bit self-destructive. And I didn't work out at all this week. I didn't step on the scale this week. 3 out of 5 days this week. Not really a food bender. I also had some meals that just took too long to cook. So I went past my 7 p.m. deadline, which sucks. I think I made a pulled pork this week. Did I have a roast chicken or something like that? I made mashed potatoes a couple times this week. I made a shepherd's pie. I made a mac and cheese last night. I did eat salads a couple times. We've got like a cupboard stuffed with chips. I've got Cheetos, tortilla chips. Yesterday for lunch, I had leftover pulled pork on nachos. And then about half an hour later, I needed a nap and I slept for almost 2 hours. Luckily, I didn't have work or anything. I was supposed to have a meeting at 3 yesterday, but that one got canceled. If I had known that it was going to be canceled, I probably would have just stayed in bed longer. Sometimes you just eat and then you fall asleep. And that's probably a bad thing, but it happens to me fairly regularly. When I only eat technically 2 meals a day, because I skip breakfast, I need like an 800 calorie meal, and that is just tiring. So otherwise, my entire day is spent like snacking. And when you're getting snacks, you're not getting healthy stuff. So not that nachos are healthy, but at least there's like vegetables and meat in there. I don't know. But we went up for, what's it called? Little Caesars pizza the other day. So, and I ate like 5 slices of that at lunch. Last year was kind of the same situation where my mom was visiting. So we were like doing takeout, or we were at restaurants and snacking too much, unhealthy meals, not doing workouts. Actually, I'm so behind on blog posts and stuff. I need to do a recap of all the stream videos from last month as a blog post, which is not terribly hard, but it's like I'm past the deadline already on it. So it's annoying to me that I can't get myself started on that. I need to do a newsletter. I need to probably send a reminder about the sale. There was a clip from a stream 2 weeks ago that I forgot to edit out into a separate video. The thing with the channel modes, custom action or cycle action. And then this week I was behind on getting the stream edit done. I didn't start that till Wednesday. I was still working on it Thursday morning. This week has not been great. I wish I was on a proper food bender. Then I wouldn't feel the shame of it, I think. I would love to like get burgers from every restaurant or poutine from every restaurant nearby, or try every butter chicken or whatever. Bad food, not sleeping enough, too much coffee, not enough exercise, sitting at the computer for 12 hours a day, editing, playing Minecraft, things like that. Self-destructive. It happens. All right, so we're gonna wrap up this stream here. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. Yeah, hopefully we'll have new Reaper stuff to discuss in the near future. And next week we will do a home studio review from the audience. We've got Jason, we've got Davi, we've got, who was it? Jerome also sent in photos. I'd love to get a few more. Maybe if we have 6 to 8, that'll be ideal. So that's the plan for next week. I mentioned this on the Discord. There's another new guitar here, but I'm making my wife suffer by not looking at it. I'm not going to open the box. And it's driving her crazy, and I want to see how long I can keep doing that. That's it for the stream. Thanks again. I will see you all next week. And otherwise on the forum, on the Discord, I'll be around. I'll be answering questions. See ya.